What's up? What's up? What's up? Same morning, just remember something. In case you thought none of this stuff was serious, I meant to add a couple more things. So a few weeks ago, Mr. Putin said he only wanted rubies for the fuel. So what does that mean? He's no longer trying to deal with international currency for their product. And I got into a little talk with my brother about currency and all of that other stuff. It was cool to talk about the currency and the differences and all of that stuff. But being as though they only want rubies for the currency, so this is an undercut and a punch in the stomach to everybody who decided to be loyal to accept their fuel. So this is an uppercut to us all, because this war broke out and we ain't see this coming. You would never think. But I mean, again, it's a back and forth, because we put sanctions on the country, we put sanctions on them, and they responded as such. We only want rupees for the fuel, meaning our dollar has to pay a fee for the equal amount of credit to purchase the fuel. So not only are they selling us the fuel, but they're selling us their money to buy the fuel. And that's the other part of it. And to dig a little deeper, to let you know how serious this is, I just seen a video, again, on one of my favorite news shows. They had a war going on in Ukraine at a steel mill. If you know what a steel mill is or look like, or if you don't know what a steel mill is or look like, I'll tell you. And you might see them and not notice what these. A lot of these places you might see and not know what they're doing. And by the way, go check and see they're hiring sometime. Okay, you don't gotta have a degree, you don't gotta be nothing special. Run in there and see they hiring. But long story short, they are fighting a war at a steel mill because Russia wants. So imagine Russia controlling the steel mill in Ukraine, the place they fighting. Now this dude, like I said, he asked for rubies a few weeks ago, and yesterday they having a fight. They're having a fight at a steel mill. So if Ukraine loses a resource such as a place that develops steel and manufactures steel, that's what they're losing. And keeping in mind, we're not funding the war, but we are definitely supplying that country with weapons to fight. So that's what we're doing right now. Listen, this place is almost about 3 or 4 or 5 square miles long. Big places, big buildings. I might try to get a picture of one and post it up when I kind of redo a lot of this stuff I'm saying. But being as if you don't understand what I'm saying to you, and you don't see the power struggle and the amount of things that's up in the air to be grabbed by who's ever in control, or whoever the leaders are, you are a fool if you don't understand that. They've been trying to take control of a lot of things. They've been trying to go for control. And again, it's a very much of a local war. It seems or appears to be very much of a local war. But and again, that's just, this is just one country out of hundreds. All right, that's one country out of hundreds. But it seems to be very much important because they signed the agreement to be part of NATO. NATO won that European Union. And Vladimir Putin also said, he also made a note and said, Vladimir Putin also made a note. Vladimir Putin also said What did he also say? What did he also say? So I was just talking about Ukraine, and how today's update was the war near a steel mill, and that's just one thing you gotta understand. That's what's really happening. And again, I'm never gonna let go of my grudge or anger evolving around the Keystone Pipeline idea. That just might have needed some minor, demographic changes as far as where they was going to put it at. You can't put, some of this stuff in certain areas, and maybe that was an issue. Maybe it was other things, but it went to court just so they can adjust the paperwork, so we can get it going. Not for them to hold it off for another half a decade, and that's what ended up happening. So that's what ended up happening. Left it alone for a long period of time. So outside of that, what I truly want to say is that my heart goes out to Mr. Trump. He wasn't a politician, so him not knowing any better about politics or addressing politics in the sense, him not addressing it properly is okay. The fact of the matter is the Republican Party should not have picked him to be their leader per se. And also what I learned is that they were prepared to set him up to get an easy pass, meaning that nobody, no politician, nobody who felt adverse within their party was supposed to be allowed to say anything to him. So if they didn't like the guy, they had felt some type of way about him, the Republican Party wasn't going to allow those people to speak against him in that manner. So they was all supposed to just be in line with whatever was supposed to have happened. It's all supposed to be in line with that. So they couldn't truthfully argue with him, you know what I mean, or be upset and none of that stuff. They're supposed to just be in line with him just becoming the president. But my issue is, where does all of that come into play? That's so cool. That's all that. But where does all of that come into play when you're addressing him? When you addressing him. Where does all of that come into play when they found out they were setting him up to be on a certain type of a pedestal? But see, the problem was his lack of experience being a politician. And yes, he had experience being a great leader, doing great things, a business mogul and all of this stuff. Well, that wouldn't be enough in the realm of being a politician. I mean, to say it as respectfully as possible, it's two different animals, however you look at it or not. Because now you go from dealing with business ordeals to having to stand up and talk and make decisions that takes hours to even discuss and all of this. I'm not saying he couldn't do it, but and then being a Republican, very much boastfully outspoken they are most of the time. And I think Democrats are so politically sound that they try to be so proper, and it makes them almost seem like people had to start talking shit about them like they're some type of cowards. No, and we might be the only ones living by the constitutional standard of being part of the United States Constitution. But some of these Republicans are sporadically outspoken and overly boastful, and they say some crazy shit. They say some crazy things, man. And they threw him right into the limelight to fall right in line with them saying these things. So when they called, Joe Biden a coward because he's not dealing with things politically to keep the world safer, Well, what fact sheet are you reading? You know, like I said, today he asked for an additional $40 billion, and I urge to tell Joe Biden, well, I hope he begin to think about. I mean, and again, it's me. I don't know the vast amount that we might have allotted to aid others and things like that. But it makes me wonder, just to bring to his attention, that we dealing with our own crisis at home. We see prices tripling and doubling. We are dealing with our own catastrophe right now, and it's happening right now. Last year, my birthday, I went to Atlantic City, you know, and I found a bar of soap and a little single tube of chapstick. Well, the soap was at 99 cents, and that chapstick cost about $2.20. And it made me think about it, like, wow. And it might have always been that way. You know what I'm saying? But make you think about it. It makes you wonder. I probably need chapstick more than I need soap, by the way. That's me personally. But what I'm trying to say is, this, for the size of the chapstick, is no bigger than this lighter right here. And that chapstick might have lasted a lot longer, but the bar of soap was only 99 cents. And the chapstick was $2.29 or $1.29. Something like $1.89. Like, it was something a lot more than what this soap was. And the fact is, you can find chapstick for that price, $1.25 some places. So it never really justified the price differences, and in my personal opinion, you know, why prices were going up last year. Prices are going up since last year, and now they're going up, and now they not going up, but they flat out just, you know, double. Like, they just flat out double. Like, all right, let's just cut the bullshit. Prices got to be right here. You know, and the key word is, they're not just going up, but they're going up for one reason, and that's sustainability. In my opinion, it's sustaining what we have going on. Meaning you have to stay employed. They're taking in a lot more higher delivery costs because of fuel. You work in a medical place, they get delivered supplies. The people gotta bring it to you. They are now paying almost double their fuel costs, and you are not their only delivery. You know what I'm saying? You are not the only one they gotta deliver to. So if you noticed, your medical equipment that you get delivered weekly, or you know the pharmacy might get deliveries of Mrs. Mary Poppins medicine every month to make sure they have her prescription for her every other month and stuff like that. Well, they paying the cost to get this stuff delivered to them. You know, Mrs. Mary need her medicine. You know, so this is how it works. That's how it works. So, you know, this type of stuff we dealing with nowadays. And again, I'm one of those people who would love to bring this to the president's plate so we can see that people have to incur these costs. And see, the fact of the matter is, as an American who's dealt with this before and still do, we only get raises maybe annually. Maybe annual raises, maybe semi-annually. Might get a raise or a promotion or something like that. So if you're not due for a raise, guess what? You got to put up with your fixed income, having to sacrifice parts of your income to deal with these daily costs that always change. And in doing so, you losing out on something that you might prioritize. So if you prioritizing buying a 50 count bag of chicken nuggets from the grocery store that costs about $8, well, if you just happen to find out you're putting this money into your gas tank, or having to use it to give your kids their, allowance to go to this candy store, you be like, damn, $8 I had to buy my chicken nuggets I love. I only got about $3 out of that money. Like, oh well, I put this money towards it and make up the $8. So you keeping your chicken nuggets. You better believe it. You're keeping that 50 count of chicken nuggets. But what am I saying? What are you taking that $5 from to afford that? You're taking that from something because you already had it allotted with your fixed income. You already had everything allotted. Your kids was getting their snacks, the healthy snacks, the crimpets and shit with jelly in it. They was getting all that for $2 at one point. Now they need $4 to get their snacks. You know what I'm saying? And your chicken nuggets used to call you $8. You gotta find that $5 somewhere else to make up because you only got $3 left outside of your original $8 to get your chicken nuggets. I ain't even getting to the sauces yet. You got honey mustard, you got ranch, you got barbecue, and straight up ketchup. Which, you know what I'm saying? You gotta make up all these calls, man. It can be like that sometimes. It could be like that sometimes. I don't know why I just did that. Anyway, that's where we at right now. So that's it right there. Hope you're having a good morning. Yeah, I'm dealing with some stuff, but I can't do it without one of these right now. So my biggest thing, like I said, from everything I've observed over the past week or two, I hope that we start taking into account, what we need from our own reserves for our own sustainability. That's the key word today. What we need for our own stability. Because today he requested $40 billion. And a trivia question for the kids: how many millions does it take to make a billion? I asked that one more time. How many millions does it take to make a billion? They need $40 billion to aid them again. And they've been needing aid right away, which probably means that they were on the brink or the borderline of losing the war. Okay? So without this aid they have been receiving, they would have been in very much more so of a losing predicament. But again, they are part of NATO, just like other countries. So we were obligated to help and assist them. But what is it in it for us to continue to pour into it? Is it a battle that we can somehow win? Or is it one of those things that Mr. Putin is going to begin to count their losses as well and slow down, so they can sit back at the table and talk again about some stuff? Or are they going to sit here and keep on accruing these costs based on a war crime? Not a war crime, but a war going on. So, yeah. So that's where we at, and that's what we doing with right now. And make sure you wake up and say your prayers. And if you see somebody who's trying to uphold anything good that you can deal with, thank them too. But like I told you, Have a good day.